Welcome, Capricorn, to your July Moon Magic deep dive forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. There's a huge amount of astrological activity in July, but at its very heart is the pulse of the moon. I'm going to unpack July from a lunar perspective, and at the end of the video, you'll have a clear picture of what's upcoming as far as your energy, work, relationships, or finances. Thank you so much for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundel. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. If we go back to the end of June, we have the full moon in your zodiac sign, but that energy provides a backdrop for the first 2 weeks of July. So what does it mean, a Capricorn full moon? Well, I think for you, if you're not that happy around certain relationship situations, you're likely to want to make your feelings known. But the key is that Mercury, the communicator, has gone into a retrograde on that full moon. So it's important to understand that maybe it's not just what has or not been said. It's also important to try to understand why that has unfolded. And actually gaining that understanding could prove a little bit elusive through the first half of the month. The reason initially is because of Neptune. Neptune's in a T square with the moon and also the sun. In the square with the sun, it can lower our energy. In the square with the moon, it can heighten our perceptions, but also perhaps confuse us. It's almost like the moon card in the tarot. So, if there is a situation as you go into this month that you're not quite sure about how someone feels, I think one of the things to try to be mindful of is not being too impulsive. But that could be difficult with Mars and Uranus in an intense conjunction. If ever there was a reflexive conjunction, it's that one in the sixth house for you could make you more aware of perhaps the details of a situation. However, if we fast forwards to the quarter moon in Aries, on the 7th, quarter moons provide a week's backdrop of energy, and actually it's in a conjunction with your ruler Saturn in that fourth house for the next couple of years. Anything to do with your emotional or family or home situation that is tense around a relationship can show up strongly. Now, it may be with a flatmate who never does the washing up, doesn't take their shoes off, comes in late rather noisily, brings someone back, and it's all a bit intrusive, or it could be around a more emotional issue. You may be trying to lean into someone's situation and feel that you're getting nothing back. So that's really quite a tough quarter moon. But we also have the energy of the new moon in your sector of relating on the 14th. But we still have Mercury in that retrograde. And one of the important things with the Mercury retrograde in the seventh house in the sign of Cancer, where Mercury struggles, is to really be as attentive as possible around our listening skills. But it's also the case that your ruler Saturn squares off with Mercury. So even if you're trying to have a constructive conversation with someone, maybe it feels that they're being cool or they're being a bit unfriendly, they're not really being very collaborative. That's entirely possible. Also, Uranus is in a square with Venus, which has now moved into actually a very strong part of your scope, the ninth house, but very much a truth seeker there from the ninth. And if a relationship does feel a little bit out of sorts for you, again, there could be an impulsive desire to separate yourself if it doesn't feel it's quite working. Fast forwards to the next quarter moon on the 21st, the day before the sun moves into Leo. It's in Libra again, like it was when the sun first moved into Cancer on the solstice. And for you, the 10th house, your emotions close to the surface. Maybe it's around a professional relationship that your diplomacy will just seem to fall uh, on uh, not get the response you truly want. We also have a very strident right angle between Mars and the position of Venus, and Mercury is squaring with Saturn. So I don't think it's a time of the month to be trying too hard to make things work. Maybe there is a relationship that just isn't working, and maybe it's about acceptance and trying to understand that maybe it's time to move on. But I must stress it could be with a friend, the aforementioned flatmate, it could be with a colleague. It doesn't have to be a romantic tie. Which brings us to the exciting Aquarius full moon at the end of the month on the 29th, the day when we have a Jupiter cazimi, which could be very good for your financial prospects. But you can see on the other side of the heavens, the full moon in Aquarius is in a conjunction with Pluto. That is a very supercharged opposition, but it is one with opportunities. The opportunities may be about choosing your connections or the people you work closely with very carefully, because we still have Mars in a square with Venus, and we still have Saturn in a square with Mercury. So, just to recap in terms of the overall vibe of the month, I think you go into this month with relationships very much to the fore, but what you're wanting is a proper give and take. Totally understandable. If you're a naturally attuned person to other people's needs, and it doesn't feel that you're getting that back, you don't feel validated or respected or appreciated, that can see that cooler energy of Saturn. So you pulling up the drawbridge a little bit and being less availing to what other people may want from you. And because of this energy in Gemini, which is quick thinking, but also quick action in the precise 6 hours, I think that could bring up perhaps a little bit more of an intolerant side of your nature. That doesn't mean to say that's a bad thing. If you're putting up with something and you push back, in a way, you're just being honest that you're not feeling it, and that's absolutely fine. And then as the sun makes its way following Jupiter into Leo, it's really about you're getting deeper and more connected with a situation, or you're separating. So that's really the overall pattern of the month. Now, in terms of summarizing the 4 areas of vitality, work, relationships, and finances, I'll do that next. But just to say, I've reduced the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. For many years, it was 2, 30% off. Because of the cost of living increases, I want to make them as accessible as possible. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, helps us to understand our patterns. Free, 12 months transit forecast, but also your draconic soul karmic analysis, which always gives us a lot of deep insight into astrology and ourselves, but in a different way. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your Jupiter into Leo 13-month forecast or your overall July forecast, please click on the eye on the screen and that'll take you to those videos. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, absolute pleasure. Please see my testimonials below. And also, if you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, you can do that below too. Get your early day celestial pit stop fired to your device. So, to summarize, as far as physical energy is concerned, I think you could actually have a lot, but what can really affect you most of all, I think, is emotionally. If you're someone who is very attuned to other people and is very diplomatic, is a good listener, is nurturing, is inclusive, is open to be collaborative, and you get nothing back, I think that really, really can cheese you off this month. And then as the month goes on, I think as Uranus then Mars rebel in their right angle to Venus, that could see you want to break away from something that just isn't working. But the converse can be true around energy. If you're connecting well to someone, you can gain greater sense of stability and security, which could boost your vitality. When it comes to your financial situation, having the month begin with Venus in your 8th house and then be joined soon after, or by the start of the month with Jupiter in the 8th house too, could be good, particularly on that cazimi at the end of the month, as long as who you're collaborating with has the right kind of values that match your needs. That could be very helpful indeed. When it comes to your relationship, if you're single, that's really very, very fascinating, I feel, because if you're attracted to someone, say you're on a holiday with Venus in the ninth house, and the square with Uranus and Mars could see you have a bit of a fling. If you're wanting something that's much deeper and longer lasting, do run it through that part of your nature, which can be slower to get involved, but actually likes to take those smaller steps, and then something can be much longer lasting for the future. And that looks encouraging. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Capricorn. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.